Good evening. Welcome to tonight's Kalamazoo City Commission meeting of October 5th, 2020. I am Deputy City Manager Jeff Chamberlain. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the city's Facebook page and the city's YouTube channel. You can also listen on your phone to tonight's meeting by calling area code 269-552-6425 and entering meeting ID number 970-9234-8323 when prompted. And you may leave a 3-minute public comment for tonight's meeting by calling area code 269-226-6573. And I'd like to turn tonight's meeting over to City of Kalamazoo's Mayor, David Anderson.
Thank you very much, Deputy City Manager Jeff Chamberlain. Always a pleasure. Appreciate it. Welcome, everybody, to this public electronic regular meeting of the Kalamazoo City Commission for Monday, October 5th, 2020. Clerk Borland, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Cunningham.
Here.
Commissioner Hess.
Here.
Commissioner Knott.
Here.
Commissioner Pradle.
Present.
Commissioner Urban.
Here.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Here.
Mayor Anderson.
Here. Thank you so much, Clerk Borland. For our opening ceremony, we have an invocation tonight from Michael Kemple. He is the Executive Director from Missional Chaplains. Pastor Kemple. You may be muted, sir. Still muted. We'll give you a moment. I know this is new for people. Any Deputy City Manager, any suggestions?
He's good to go on our end.
Okay. Mr. Kemple, in the upper right corner of my picture is an opportunity to click mute or unmute. Do you see that? Or lower part of your screen? All right.
I think his microphone is not working, sir.
Okay.
Well, maybe you can have a silent prayer.
All right. So I think that's a good suggestion. Thank you. Maybe we will have a moment of silence right now, just recognizing that we are in important times. We certainly have very public figures and people we have known and loved who've been affected by this virus that's going on right now. So maybe we can just take a moment to think about all those and think about health and caring for each other as we go forward. Thank you so much, everyone. Commissioners, you have before you the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any changes you'd like to see? Seeing none. Communications. Do we have a report from the Foundation for Excellence?
Yes, we do, Your Honor. I'd like to introduce Steve Brown, who is our Foundation for Excellence coordinator, and he's going to present the 2021 Foundation for Excellence budget. Steve?
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Mr. Brown?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Are you able to hear me all right?
We do.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor Griffin, Commissioners, City Manager Ritzma. Been honored to once again present the Foundation for Excellence budget to the City Commission. This time last year, I stood before you in person in a suit and tie. This year, it's a little bit different. Next year, maybe I'll be calling in from someplace more tropical so we can move in that direction. Thanks so much for your time this year. Tonight, what you're going to see is an update on the Foundation's governance. You're going to see a response on the Foundation for Excellence supported COVID-19 response that the city undertook this year, discussion on continuing 2020 and new city projects in 2021, and then the 2021 draft budget. And then there'll be time for questions and comments. There is a significant amount of information to present this evening, and of course, staff are always eager to provide more information and detailed updates throughout the year at any time requested. So I will be thorough, but hopefully brief. Quick starting here is that the 2021 budget timeline really formally begins with the Finance and Executive Committee meetings in August. And just a reiteration of the precedent that we've established, the Foundation for Excellence Board saw this draft budget at their meeting in September. No action was requested. It was just a review. This evening, we are again reviewing it. No action is requested. And we'll go back to the board on the 12th of October for recommendation to the City Commission for adoption in the 2021 budget on that same timeline and with that same action in January. I'd like to just take a moment to really appreciate and highlight the board of directors. This is a group of what was 16 individuals, with the addition of former Mayor Hopewell as a founding director emeritus last year by unanimous action of the FFE board. These are individuals from throughout the community representing various stakeholder and affinity groups, from Dr. Angela Grahamn-Williams, who's our very much appreciated president, through all the stakeholder directors, and they're really given time and expertise and talent to making sure that the board of directors serves the foundation, of course, first and foremost, but also the people of the city to help us move this project forward in pursuit of the Imagine Kalamazoo goals for the public good. So we are entering the 2021 will be the fourth full year of operation, and a tremendous amount has happened. So we wanted to come back with an update on governance. So there's 3 slides that I'm going to present this evening, one on the board, one on budgeting, one on the endowment, to just get us back to a shared understanding of the organization that's been built and its ability to do the work in a sustainable fashion, really in perpetuity. So just getting back to basics for a moment, the board was 15 members as established. Like I said, the emeritus was added in 2020 by unanimous action. That was in recognition of the absolutely unique and indispensable role that former Mayor Hopewell played in establishing the Foundation for Excellence. We've had 2 successful transitions, rounds of elections of officers. That's an important milestone. It means that our operations and our organization is working. We've been very intentional with our governance facilitator in choosing a board that is able to do the work, really, and it's a fantastic board that we're all feel very lucky to work with. It comprises 56% women and 43% persons of color, which is a diverse board that's able to really speak to the community. And then all recommended policies were approved in the 2019 annual meeting, which again is important because that means that we have the policy backbone for really just the operations as a full, mature organization. We're Open Meetings Act compliant. We're unusual for foundations, if not unique in Michigan, in that we have the same standards that you yourselves as City Commission has, and we've done that since day one. So if anyone's ever interested in minutes or meetings, joining in, participating with public comment, that's all available in the same way as these meetings are online. And all of our information is available one way or another through our website, which I'll show in a later slide. And the board remains intentional about their work together. There was a work session this winter where a survey was undertaken about internal operations and their sense of fulfilling the mission of the city, the vision that's set forth by the community through Imagine Kalamazoo 2025, and a very, very positive working environment and a sense of duty was established then. And with the onboarding of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director, Gola Bonner, in February of this year, the board's been, again, intentional in choosing to develop a process of their own with Dorla for seeing areas of improvement they have to make and areas where they can really influence programs and projects of the foundation and of the city to help, move forward in a positive direction. So in the area of budgeting, we're entering our fourth successful budget cycle as established in the bylaws. We've had continual concurrence between the board and yourselves, the city commission, moving through this process each fall, which is very important. We're approaching the third year of independent audit filings. Really, one of these bedrock aspects of governance and transparency and accountability that we've done since the very beginning, and are proud to just make sure that we've got a sustainable organization that serves the community well. We've been proactive with public reporting on financials through web presences and through the media. And again, if you visit kalamazooCity.org/FFE, there's a document library where this information is available, often in draft form as well as in published final form. And we put out the newsletter, which I'll touch on later, and have certain online tools that really try to go above and beyond the call for making sure that this information is available to the public at all times. Lastly, in the governance section, under the endowment, it's important to note that we are still pursuing the goal that was established at the beginning of the Foundation for Excellence Endowment, which will allow this work to continue in perpetuity from that corpus of money. The Foundation for Excellence Investment Subcommittee, you note there's FFEIS for short, was created formally in April of 2019. The endowment investment infrastructure was in place as of January of this year. So that is the accounts, the relationships with managers of those investments. And then we were ready to accept the first major gift as of March of this year. The first meeting of the FFEIS was convened in June. And again, those are open meetings, Act compliant public meetings. They are convened in basically the same block of time as the Retirement Investment Committee and other meetings of that body, which are at this point also conducted by Zoom and available published notice through the city's website. And then the first report to the Foundation for Excellence Board was received and approved in September of 2020. So that was kind of a wrap up of the first 2 quarters of this year. And we'll move forward on that quarterly reporting basis from the investment subcommittee through the Foundation for Excellence Finance Committee onto the board moving forward. So quick governance update just to show, we started, the IRS incorporated the Foundation for Excellence in 2017. A tremendous amount has happened since then. But what we have is we have a fully formed professional organization that year after year now, 3 years in a row, is really performing the duties of a nonprofit and to the highest standard and is building its endowment. So that's something really to celebrate and I wanted to take a moment to linger on. What can seem like some pretty banal details sometimes, but which ultimately are the pieces that really make this story possible with the Foundation for Excellence and the city. Now, of course, the reason for all this happening is for a very, very good purpose, which is the mission of the Foundation for Excellence, the goals of Imagine Kalamazoo, and the reasons for the foundation to begin in the first place. So just highlighting the mission of the FFE here on screen briefly to get us back to baseline. This again was decided by the foundation board. And I'd like to slide right with that into the Articles of Incorporation and the 4 major areas that were noted for the reason for the FFE to begin with, which were to address generational poverty within the city limits of the city of Kalamazoo, promote youth development and employment of youth and the underemployed and those returning from incarceration in the community, address capital and human infrastructure improvements in neighborhoods specifically, and develop and implement neighborhood improvements as defined by the neighborhood plans. The other layer to this, of course, is Imagine Kalamazoo, and it's always good to just put this up to remind viewers of the 10 areas that were really tasked with developing programs and projects in order to address. And these are just alphabetical order from complete neighborhoods all the way to youth development. So what you see this evening, hopefully, in your minds and the minds of the public as well, is a very dutiful answer to these calls to create projects and programming that really, meaningfully moves these projects forward. Again, very young foundation, 3rd and 4th year, working in partnership with city staff departments as well as external partners in the community, but already really making some great headway and showing what's possible, certainly, and for a very bright future for Kalamazoo. What I'd like to say too is that the Imagine Kalamazoo annual, we call it kind of the birthday party, anniversary party, is forthcoming as a presentation to City Commission. So what you'll see is a year 3 presentation with 2020 numbers. I believe that's scheduled in November or December. So this is a slide from last year's. You'll see at that time it was already around 145 actions that covered 8 strategic goals had been undertaken. 27% of the plan was considered complete, 17% ongoing. This year we expect great things as well, and the departments have just been really working, day and night against all the headwinds that we've had this year as well with COVID, to stay focused on the goals, the strategic goals, and all the pieces that go into that. So I'd like to begin with a COVID response overview. It's on everyone's mind. It's been a big part of what the city has done, what the Foundation for Excellence has done this year. So on the slide you'll see up there are the 5 areas: Disaster Relief Fund, Kalamazoo Small Business Loan Fund, the Kalamazoo Micro Enterprise Grants, Digital Access for All, and Learning Hubs that have totaled so far about $2.64 million of investment in the community, specifically in response to COVID. I've got slides for each of these except for the Kalamazoo Micro Enterprise Grants, but I'll speak to that under Kalamazoo Small Business Loan Fund. So beginning with Disaster Relief Fund, which is the next slide. This starts with a thank you to United Way of Battle Creek and Kalamazoo Region. As with Kalamazoo Small Business Loan Fund, they really have been instrumental in doing some of this work with us in partnership. And to begin with, I'll give a big shout out to Deputy City Manager Laura Lamb, who worked after the catastrophic floods we experienced 2 years ago, I believe it was now, to help establish the Disaster Relief Fund with United Way, so that it was an infrastructure process in place, so that should something else happen to Kalamazoo, it was ready to accept resources and distribute them in a responsible way. That's in kind of partnership with the Urgent Relief Fund, which was established by the Kalamazoo Community Foundation, and together they form sort of the two hands, left and right hands of the disaster relief that can take place in Kalamazoo, which really, if you get down to it, the point is to help the helpers help people who need help is what these programs are for. So the city, back in March, through City Commission action, gave about $310,000 to help create liquidity for the Disaster Relief Fund. Over 50 organizations were helped by DRF so far this year. 18% of all Disaster Relief Fund dollars came from the FFE City of Kalamazoo grant. So that's just about $1 in $5 that was distributed. The top areas were food and housing assistance, as well as other basic needs. So these are absolute critical, crucial resources needed by people and families in the community. And again, these programs were to support the organizations that did that direct relief. So it was helping to create that predictability and that sustainability for our response to help our neighbors. And again, I already mentioned the Urban Relief Fund. So slipping to the next slide with Kalamazoo Small Business Fund. This was also in partnership with United Way of Battle Creek and Kalamazoo Region. This was in response to 2 things. One was how clear the negative impact on local business was going to be nationwide, and Kalamazoo was going to be no different. And 2, the realization that relief was maybe not going to be coming fast enough. And United Way was fantastic in working with city staff. In this case, big shout out to Antonio Mitchell as well. It won't be the last time I thank you tonight, Antonio, to work with city staff and partners to do a quick landscape scan, see what the city needed, see what amount of money was reasonable to put toward this challenge, and then to put together the infrastructure to get lending. So we were looking at 1% interest loans, no payback for 6 months, for businesses that were fewer than 50 full-time employees and less than $2.5 million annual revenue. They had to be within the city, and there was a strong commitment to equitable lending and to making sure that it was as low to no barrier as could possibly be, and that it was all online given social distancing at that time, as well with kind of really hands-on support over the phone and by email to businesses that, at that point, were just dizzy with questions for all the state and federal programs that were being promised and to greater or lesser extent coming online slowly. So we were there with what has turned out to be about $1.35 million loaned. 82% of eligible businesses were funded, and 55% of approvals were for self-identified women and or minority-owned businesses. And these were dollars that, in the testimonial of the businesses themselves, helped keep businesses alive. We were the first $8 in before the state, before the feds, and since then, businesses have been able to, I think, as needed, transition into and onto other programs, because this, of course, has become many, many months longer than most of us hoped it would be back in March and May when we were setting up these programs. So tremendous amount of work went into this by United Way's team and by the city's economic development team. Very appreciative of being able to just serve the community in this way. There are detailed reports on the Kalamazoo Small Business Loan Fund, the Disaster Relief Fund, and also the Kalamazoo Micro Enterprise Grant Fund, which I'll speak to in just a moment, on changethestory.org. So if anyone would like to visit the changethestory.org, there's been, different subdirectories for these three programs with very detailed reports on businesses that were linked to demographic information, et cetera. Two things I'll say is that Kalamazoo Micro Enterprise Grant, one of the things that came out of this was the ability to leverage a very large grant, $200,000 from the Consumers Energy Foundation, with some of the dollars from the city to create a targeted program for granting to small businesses with really a focus on women and minority-owned businesses who maybe didn't want to take on or couldn't take on a loan or a loan of a certain size, but really needed strategic dollars fast. And so that program was very interesting in that it was able to bring those other resources to bear this spring. Again, this is to the credit of Antonio Mitchell at Economic Development. He's a community investment manager at the city. And also a shout out to Dola Bonner, who was really, I would just say dogged in making sure that, we were doing the work and we were doing it right, that we were reaching out to Black-owned businesses, BIPOC businesses. And, United Way shines a very bright light with a focus on equity and inclusion. They were extremely intentional in the way that they established the lending procedures, as I said before, but also the group that lent. But it's always, you've always got to have voices at the table that are challenging you to do better and more. So I think the Kalamazoo Micro Enterprise Grant is an example of that. And then ultimately the lending information that's come out about the Kalamazoo Small Business Loan Fund, something that we can be proud of and helps establish the relationship going forward of economic development working with United Way for other business lending activities. So there's two more slides in the COVID-19 response area. Digital Access for All is the next one. And so this is a project that was brought to our attention back in April. And again, we just put the pedal to the metal as quickly as we could on trying to understand the challenge, understand potential partners, understand the landscape, and then responding as quickly as we could. So the promise with Kalamazoo Public Library, Kalamazoo Public Schools, and other partners approached the city and really wanted to lift up the exaggeration, we'll say, of the digital divide through the requirement of at-home learning. And Kalamazoo Public Schools had done everything they could to get laptops out to 13,000 students. They kind of dug through all of their resources and they were able to do that. But quite a few families and households don't have internet at home. Or home is not always a stable place, and so they don't always have stable internet access. So the city, with FFE Resources, was able to partner with KPS, KPL, the Promise, and the Kalamazoo Community Foundation to put together a program which was, back in, say, April, May, pretty assertive in this area. We were able to buy 1,000 waterproof hardened Wi-Fi hotspots with 1 year of unlimited high-speed service, get them to KPL, get them accessioned into their system, and then get them lent out for the school year. And everybody around the country is still scrambling. They're trying to put resources together. They're trying to, find public-private partnerships. philanthropic support, but we can be proud that Kalamazoo was able to come together with numerous partners and put a program together quickly so that as the school year started, we're able to get these devices out in the community. And I know that Superintendent Ratchadori, Dr. Rita, has been a real champion of this partnership and has lifted up the fact that, this is one of the ways that it looks like when community works together. There's a lot of ways that can look, and this is one of them. So I've been very appreciative of that as well. And linked to this on the next slide are the learning hubs. So the way that I like to frame this is that this is kind of an enhancement on the Digital Access for All program. So learning hubs are on-site COVID social distance compliant learning centers of between 40 and 50 students per site, modeled on examples from San Francisco, Cleveland, I believe Madison, Wisconsin, other cities are using it, where we're able to offer quality on-site education for those who maybe don't have a positive learning environment or a stable learning environment, or otherwise just need that extra kind of space for learning. And students for the learning hubs are identified as from the equity cohorts that are established at Kalamazoo Public Schools. And those cohorts in themselves are brought together through identifying, environment, nutrition, disability, language learning, or internet access for some of the reasons why a student may be part of an equity cohort. So this was really just, we weren't going to quit. We saw that there was a challenge with that the Digital Access for All, I always want to call it DAFA, Digital Access for All could help address. And then we were approached for kind of a crack within the cracks for learning hubs to address, and we were proud to bring that to City Commission several meetings ago for that grant. So together, these 4 areas, 5 programs throughout the year, have been programs that the city really couldn't have contemplated financially, or even in terms of probably staff time and just bandwidth as an organization prior to the Foundation for Excellence. And also I'd say that some of the relationships that Foundation for Excellence has helped establish over the last several years through the department's community planning, economic development, right on down the line. These are great examples of where kind of systematically the city is in a place that it wasn't 5 years ago. And it's something that I think we can all be proud of and all really appreciate the value of in a time of unprecedented difficulty for the city. So a piece of the learning labs that's interesting as well is that was, in a sense, making a little bit of lemon out of lemonade, or excuse me, lemonade out of lemon. So is that the summer youth programs were limited to 50%. The Super Rec and All Things Possible programs that Parks and Recreation runs each year, which I'll speak to in just a moment, those are limited to 50% capacity because of COVID. And those programs served their participants well. They met their attendance targets 50%. They were also assessed by Kalamazoo Youth Development Network, as they have been in previous years, considered to be a positive deployment of those programs. But there was money left over because they had to be reduced to 50%. So learning hubs were dollars that were intended to serve youth. Those dollars couldn't serve youth fully because of COVID. And here was this other need because of COVID where we had an opportunity to serve youth. So in that sense, it was a great repurposing, reallocation of those dollars that would really have just been carried forward into probably next budget year otherwise. So again, there's a quickness to that we all appreciate and are thankful for. So with that, I'll move into the next slide and speak briefly about the youth programs for this year. So the slide you see up there is My City Summer Youth Employment. As you will remember, in late spring, we invited Paige from Kalamazoo Regional Education Service Authority, KRESA, to speak about how they were adapting to COVID, and they went with their most comprehensive and most extreme contingency plan, because it was just, there wasn't going to be there wasn't going to be in-person learning opportunities this summer. So they were able to average out previous earnings for participants and pay that out as an honorarium to those who completed certain learning requirements through their online EDGE system which they invested in improving. It was already a fantastic program, but invested in improving by creating kind of industry-specific learning nodes within that education software. So they were very pleased at their ability to continue serving youth. And so what we've seen is since 2017, we've had 1,200 young people served through my city and $1.5 million in wages paid. We fully anticipate with our youth programs to be back to normal next year, hopefully with the addition of having, created some new resiliency, learned a few positive lessons that we otherwise wouldn't have learned because of COVID, but otherwise back to normal, up to full attendance and as we were previously. So there were 154 participants who engaged in the virtual Career 101, which is just a testament to K-REIS's ability to adapt and really make the program still deliver despite all these challenges. And as I said before, with Super Rec and All Things Possible, they were limited to 50%, but what we're seeing is 50% of the target for this year was delivered. So we're still on trend and on track for continuing to grow those programs as the years go by. I'll go to the next slide with Youth Mobility Fund, and this was this is kind of also a systems update for Metro as well. So since this was piloted in August of 2019, you'll remember this was rolled out with last school year and was continued through the end of the school year. There's 160,000 trips taken by Kalamazoo Public School students with the one card IDs on that system, which is it's a tremendous number of trips for a school. The high school body here is 3,700. About 50% were actively using cards from our estimate. So that's a lot of trips, and it was for after school enrichment, it was for sports, it was for work. You can really see in the ridership and the numbers and the days and the times where what people were using them for. And that was continued until the Metro system went to fare-free rear access only late spring, and the system has continued that way since. So if you board a Metro bus these days still, the front door is closed, the driver is partitioned from riders, everyone rides free. You board the bus, you ride your destination, you get off the bus, no matter who you are. And ridership is limited to about 20% capacity, and there's a prohibition on standing room ridership. So this is the best practice really for Metro transit nationwide, at least for this scale or these types of buses that we have, is to keep social distance and to keep responsible ridership. So Youth Mobility Fund, we've added Kalamazoo Youth Development Network to the partnership, which was some of the learning from last year. We're in the process of building out a volunteer corps and education kind of curriculum to just really, create a positive bus ridership culture for everyone in Kalamazoo. And that's being built, but the buses, as I say, are still fare free. So the program as such, Youth Mobility Fund, is on hold. We're ready, we have the IDs, and we're just in close communication with Kalamazoo Public Schools and of course Metro and Kalamazoo Youth Development Network to launch that when we're ready. So they had set a provisional date in September. The date's passed, and it's until further notice. So just an update on that for Youth Mobility Fund buses. The next slide, what we'll do is talk about economic development in 2020. So the economic development activity of the city, funded by Foundation for Excellence, is kind of unified under the title of Business Development Fund. And I mean, first of all, I just want to thank Director Kick of Community Planning and Economic Development, as well as Community Investment Manager Antonio Mitchell, once again, for everything that they've done with their external partners to build out these programs, build the relationships first and foremost that go into making sure that these programs work and work well and correctly and quickly. And to have done this in the face of a pandemic and at a time when staffing wasn't full and there were just so many challenges with learning how to, we've all been there, but learning how to do Zoom for the first time, how do you build a business relationship over these technologies? So many challenges, and yet 2020 was still a very active year with a lot of great things to report. So you'll see $1 million in strategic site acquisition for core neighborhoods. 18 business received technical assistance. You'll see the 7 GAP grants made, 32 small business grants were made. So, and this is outside of the programs that we've already discussed for Kalamazoo Small Business Loan Fund. There were storefront facade grants made in core neighborhoods. And then you'll see there the contractor certification, as I understand it, those trainings will resume when possible. I think the nature of those meetings and the certifications is a bit hands-on and in person. So more information forthcoming on that. And then, of course, the loan program of up to $35,000 remain available and will remain available next year. The next slide is affordable housing. And this is another major area of investment by the city with Foundation for Excellence dollars. These are the resources that we're putting out in the community, the relationships that we're building, and an area that really is permanent. You know, this is a challenging area for us to invest in because the challenges are so big. And so I know that you'll continue to hear about this year after year, and we'll just continue to do the work. A couple things I want to highlight is that what we've done so far has been in partnership with Local Initiative Support Corporation, LISC in other words. So I would like to give credit to LISC for all that they've done to help us in these areas with the Economic Development Department. Deputy City Manager Lamb has been a huge guiding light in this project and program, and also to our current FFE stakeholder director in the affordable housing area, Stephanie Hoffman, who's just really already hit the ground running, and she's just offering so much and such a strong voice in this area to help the board understand the Foundation for Excellence board understand the immensity of the challenge and the opportunity to make positive change. So what I'd like to do here is just talk about kind of all-time impact. So this comes also in sync with LISC's reporting on the subject, is that 140 single-family homes have been rehabbed or built since 2018. And so we'll have an update in the newsletter and then through our online tools, some location information and the photographs, of course. But 140 is, it's a significant number of houses. And it's important to recognize too that, nearly all of this work involves the city in one way or another. And very often it has involved Foundation for Excellence dollars. So it's a big part of our investment. It's a big impact that we can make in the community. Likewise with multifamily units, 508 multifamily units have been preserved or built or rehabbed since 2018. Again, that's just, it's 508 families, really, if you want to think about it in just the most direct way that you can. With this also comes another part of the strategic site acquisition, which allows for acquiring sites for, types of developments that support affordable housing goals. Pathways Home is a new project that's recommended for 2021, as is Housing for All initiative. Housing for All is a loan program for affordable housing infill. And that program supports mixed-use development for small developers. The Pathways Home is a housing partnership with Kalamazoo Neighborhood Housing Services and Open Doors, and the intent there is to move residents from homelessness to homeownership, and then using incremental development alliance coaching, low-income tax credits for developers to make those, to create the housing to make that possible. And then two topics that I'll focus on in the next slide, which are tax foreclosure prevention and clearing clouded titles. These aren't sort of traditional pieces of an affordable housing puzzle necessarily, but the two things that we can be proud of because they're innovations locally that are getting attention in the kind of broader state, and they really make an impact on lives directly to keep people kind of at on that continuum of housing needs. They're keeping families and people in their homes to begin with, which is a huge deal. So we can be proud to say that we are once again a zero tax foreclosure city. We've had zero tax foreclosures on owner-occupied homes since 2018, and it's 106 homeowners, and then with, of course, people dwelling in the home, quite a few more people have been kept in their homes, and many of them are seniors. This is a partnership with the county and LISC, and So this is a time to just give gratitude to the partnership with the county treasurer and treasurer's office, and to LISC again for getting this work done. It's very relationship oriented, it's very time intensive, and it's ultimately keeps people in their homes in situations where, you know, that would be very difficult to avoid for families. From that process, one of the things we learned was that there was a new opportunity to help families where there was an unclear or legally non-existent ownership of a home. So if you think about, say, a great-grandparent that had come to Kalamazoo, worked, purchased their home, usually owned it outright, and then passed away without a will, even what was called a ladybird deed, which is a very simple will created just for the purposes of passing on a home, is that the children, or in this case now the grandchildren, may reside there and think that they have inherited it. That's in many cases not the case. And when you don't own a home, you can't take out debt against it. You can't sell it. You can't really use any federal programs to improve it. So you're stuck in this sort of non-home ownership conundrum where the taxes are all paid, everything's up to date, and people are making improvements, but they just don't own the home. It's not their asset. And so we saw that opportunity, and we piloted a program called Declaring Clouded Titles. Clouded title is the legal term for this kind of a situation. And we essentially help these families, estates, if you will, go through probate. So for an investment of $5,400, we secured, as some have said, repatriated $500,000 of fair market value to families. And of the 10 this year, I believe 8 are in Northside and Edison. And I'd have to go back and refresh, but they're all core neighborhoods. So this is a very interesting area where, again, it doesn't seem like at all a traditional part of affordable housing work, but it's an opportunity for us to really make material changes in the city and in the community for the benefit of families. And then you think of course, the impact that this has on a street or a block level as well. So 10 families were helped this year, and the goal is to help 10 families each year. And if demand increases, then we can certainly explore that. I don't really see any need to limit that too much. It's just more a matter of making contact with families who are in the situation to begin with. And the next slide is a quote from a gentleman living on Conant, who we were able to speak with and even interview actually for the coming newsletter. And he was born and raised in this house, and he's lived there for 79 years. And it was passed down and through this process. The ownership wasn't clear. And in this case, actually, this is a tax foreclosure prevention. But he was imminently really in a situation where he was going to be foreclosed on. And that this program was able to help him stay in that home. So again, just a testimonial to the power of some of these smaller interventions in the community. So just 2 more slides on programs, and then we'll move on to the 2021 budget. I'd like to pause for infrastructure investment here. This is hopefully something that people are now seeing. For a while, I wondered myself, we drive around and we look at sidewalk that was built, but you keep wondering, when is this just going to be right in my face? And I hope that many of you have started to really see new sidewalk all over the city. 2 miles of actual new poured concrete have been poured since 2019 in core neighborhoods mostly, and we've got another mile of just new sidewalk slated for next year in the budget. And these are in a 1/4 mile of community assets such as schools or business nodes, as they're called in the master plan. And along safe routes to school. And, it's the kind of work it's not real glitzy, but it's an investment that, as Director Baker said, otherwise never would have been possible. We wouldn't really have more than a couple new squares of sidewalk that were absolutely critical in the budget were it not for the foundation. So that's an important area that I think we can again all be proud of. We're making just this generational investment in the important infrastructure that makes us walkable, and it creates interconnectivity between the buses and different business centers. So that's good work that we're moving forward. And like I say, we'll have about another mile planned for next year. In the budget for next year as well are 2 lengths of bike trail. One is going to be on the Kalamazoo, it's called the Kalamazoo Avenue cycle track, and it's Edward Street to Douglas Avenue, and then West Edge and Park pilot buffer zones as well. So those will be really crucial connections, pilot connections on those major corridors for bike infrastructure that are in the 2021 budget. And then to the next slide, water service replacements. I mentioned Director Baker, and this is just an opportunity to thank Public Services for all the work that they do day and night, year in and year out, no matter the weather. We are able to contribute to removing the lead, they call non-copper services, but lead services from the Kalamazoo drinking water system. We have very good drinking water in Kalamazoo, but we have the opportunity to get rid of all these old services in the city. And we've been contributing to that really since the beginning of Foundation for Excellence. It's about 10% of the overall activity. And the total number since 2017 is 1,850. And if we can jump to the next slide, a kind of easier way to think about this is that the target is 500 per year. And what you'll see there in 2020 are basically real-time numbers. Those are from, I think, about a week ago. And so by the end of the year, I have full confidence from Public Services that we'll hit that 500 target this year. And the map next to it, the color coding on the dots is just the year that the work was done. But this is a public geographical information system map that's available through the GIS. It's called GIS, part of the city's website. And you can see where these lead services have been replaced. Here you can see that there are neighborhoods where lead services were very common to have been installed. Yellow is the city's boundary. It's worth pointing out that the city has a regional water system, so some of those service replacements are outside of the city limits. But this is, work that once it's done is invisible. It's underground, but it's an investment in the city that's, really necessary, and it's good work that we're helping move forward. So, just wanted to point that out. On the map, which is a good segue into, how are we conveying, how can we better convey the scope and the scale and the nature and the stories and the impact behind all the work that's happening. So the communication slide shows a few of the ways that we have been and continue to, as they say, tell the story. You'll see shots there of the Imagine Kalamazoo project page, which is a regularly updated resource that the community hopefully is using for information, for taking part in public opportunities for input, in tracking projects and programs as they're completed. It's really a fantastic resource that is to the credit, again, of Director Kick's Community Planning and Economic Development and our communication staff, Amanda Cockcroft and Neil Conway for pushing forward on keeping up to date. Same with social media. You'll see a screenshot there of the tiny house project that we highlighted on the city's Facebook page. We also have created animations and informational videos, and we have the mapping tool, which was debuted last year, and that shows different ways of looking at the investments of the city and Foundation for Excellence in the neighborhoods, by neighborhood and by goal and by project area. That's currently being updated, and we expect that update to be kind of released in tandem with the newsletter in November. And then, of course, the newsletter, which we are entering year 3 of, and we sent about 30,000 copies to occupied residences in the city. And that's last year it was 16 pages, really got into detail about projects and programs as a way for people to get involved and learn how they could themselves get involved. And it was also just a document to kind of put out what the vision and aspiration of the city with the Foundation for Excellence is. So that'll be coming out in November after the election to people's mailboxes. So stay tuned for that. And then we'll try some new techniques and tactics in 2021 to make sure that we're getting really all of the word out to as many people as we can. So the next slide is, we can really skip over, but this brings us to the 2021 draft budget presentation. And is that, I just want to check here, that's legible? I know the font size can be a bit different on Zoom. Okay, excellent. So Commissioner Cunningham, last year we made note that you requested previous year information on the budget. So this year we have listened and responded. So you'll see the 2020 column next to 2021 for the budget. And the couple things that I'd like to highlight on this are three things. One is under engagement and activation, the project of expungement clinics, which was begun last year and continued in February. It'll continue when possible, but because of COVID, it's just certainly not, it's not advised right now. The group of county and private and city partners agrees that we need to wait until we can convene safely. But in that case, it's just really thanks to, again, Deputy Attorney Rich Cherry for being the staff champion behind the program and helping drive it forward in partnership with Kalamazoo Defender and other law firms and the district court, I believe, for getting that work done. So stay tuned. We are eager to be back up to speed on that program when necessary and when possible. And COVID is not, you'll see the COVID response dollars are not reflected. They will be once the end of year budget adjustment is done, but these are budgets as presented currently. So you'll see here the line items that we discussed in these major areas of investment, the continuation of youth programs, once again, a major investment in affordable housing and infrastructure, which I highlighted with sidewalks. And then if we move to the next slide, you'll see the program areas together with an all-time, so 2017 to 2020, and then the 2021 budget recommended for next year, which includes $4.243 million for budget stabilization, $13.016 million for tax reduction for city tax payment, and $8.526 million for aspirational programming. So it's a total of $25,786,000 that's being recommended. So the transmittal memo that will come to City Commission details the programs, has several pages of description on the programs being recommended. That comes with the formal recommendation from the board. That'll contain information on everything that we've discussed tonight and greater detail on some of the projects, of course. And one thing to point out here as we move into 2021, which again is the fourth full year and the fifth total year, if you want to look at it that way, of Foundation for Excellence, we will be budgeting well over $100 million in this activity. And so this has really created unprecedented new possibilities for the city to be a champion for and collaborator with community to respond in instances, for example, with COVID-19's challenges and the ongoing challenges that we have in major areas like affordable housing, economic development, youth development. The reasons, and addressing generational poverty, the reasons why the Foundation for Excellence exists to begin with. So 2021 is a year for us to feel grateful, and me as staff, I'm speaking as staff, feel grateful and humble and really challenged to keep this work going and to live up to all of its potential. It's a milestone if ever I've seen one in terms of this project, and the board I know understands the gravity of the situation and is enthusiastic. I hope for those members here, Commissioner Hess, Commissioner Urban, City Manager Ritzma, Mayor Anderson, I represent the board's opinion well that there is a tremendous eagerness and enthusiasm to do this work as collaborators with the city and with the community. So with this, I would I've got just two quick slices to show of the budget, and then I can conclude the presentation for this evening and answer any questions that you may have. So the next two slides are just overviews of total investment. So here you'll see the percentage of aspirational, the percentage of budget stabilization and tax reduction. And then the next slide is just aspirational investment, showing the areas of aligned with Managing Kalamazoo goals. Now you'll notice under economic vitality, affordable housing is listed there. That's not a goal of the Managing Kalamazoo, but it's such a major aspect of that activity that we've named it there as part of that. So these are, again, numbers 2017, and this would include 2021 as well, showing just, past and proposed future activity that's taken place because of the Foundation for Excellence. The breadth of vision and the depth of generosity of donors supporting the Foundation for Excellence, and the commitment to community and appreciation for the areas that are most needed for investment and support in the community. So the last slide is a chance for me to thank those who really day in and day out are involved in the work of the Foundation for Excellence. Deputy Manager, City Manager Laura Lamb, Katie Riley, Neighborhood Activator, Kevin Ford, who's the Shared Prosperity Kalamazoo Coordinator, Chad Wendt, Youth Development Coordinator at Parks and Recreation, and Carrie Lynn Williams, who joined us this May as a grant specialist in support partially of Foundation for Excellence work, but also city work in general. So very deep thanks to everyone involved and to the city in general, because the staff, the 600 plus staffers of the city are the people doing this work for the most part. So I couldn't really name all of our partners this year because the work is involved with so many partners in so many areas of the community. But to anyone watching, thank you for your trust and your partnership and your collaboration with the Foundation for Excellence in the city. And we look forward to 2021. So it's been a pleasure to be able to present to you this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions or address any comments that you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. I really, really appreciate it. I want to thank you for your superlative work on this, right from the jump on this whole business, and also your detailed and very comprehensive report tonight. So that's helpful. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Brown this evening?
Really quickly, Steve, out of those 1,000 hotspots for digital access for all, have they all been accessed? And if not, how could a family go about finding access?
So it's my understanding about 50% are lent right now, so about 500 hotspots, and they're moving out at a rate of between 15 and 20 to 30 a day. It really depends on the day. Those families are identified through an initial survey, and in some cases, it's a challenge of reaching the family that was identified. This is also part of the overall, I think, work of making sure that everyone's in school. That happens each year. So if you are in need of internet connectivity, you should first and foremost contact your administrator at Kalamazoo Public Schools. When in doubt, you can reach out to Kalamazoo Public Library, but your first stop should be an educator or an administrator to Kalamazoo Public Schools if you're in need. And I don't have a number handy, but we could, if you need particular follow-up afterwards, I can get you resources. Commissioner has.
Great. Thank you so much for all your work.
Other questions or comments, commissioners? Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes, thank you, Steve, for this presentation, and thank everyone for all of the work that has gone into it. I just have a small question, which it could be answered. I know you said you were going to send us additional information, but for Shared Prosperity Kalamazoo, I sit on that organizing committee, and I was wondering if there was any additional funding budgeted for this new year.
So there is not for this year, and the high impact fund for shared prosperity Kalamazoo operates in similar fashion as other funds, which is that it was in a sense pre-funded to undertake activity, as with Youth Mobility Fund, economic development 2 years ago. There was no funding last year, for example, but there had been funding the previous year, and then there's funding again this year. So that's in an instance when we don't know what the demand necessarily will be up front, right? It's not a dollar for dollar, it's like a grant. There could be kind of an elasticity of what's needed. And so the high impact fund was created initially with $2 million with that in mind, and I believe has significant resources that they're looking to deploy this year through granting in the community based on the organizing committee's protocol and criteria. So then each budget is taken on an annualized basis.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Brown? All right, seeing no one at this point, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Very helpful, a lot to digest there and think about. So thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Great deal. So at this point in the meeting is now the opportunity for public comments. As everybody is aware, those public comments are provided through leaving voicemails, and that is managed by our Deputy City Manager, Jeff Chamberlain. So DCM Chamberlain, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have a few comments that have come in, and we will begin those shortly. Thank you.
Yes, this is Joe Byers. I live in the Vine neighborhood. I'm calling to express my extreme outrage that Pastor Nathan was removed from the Police Accountability Board. Jim Ritzema is a white supremacist, and he has fostered a culture of white supremacy in our public safety. David Anderson is a white supremacist. I have never been more disappointed in a group of elected leaders than I am now. The city manager does whatever he wants, regardless if it's good for our city or not. This is the accountability the community has been talking about for the last several months. Instead of heaping heavy praise on city leadership and staff like the last meeting, maybe you all will actually talk about solutions on how you plan to address the city manager's complete disregard for city residents. And once again, calling on City Manager Jim Ritzema to resign.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. This is Jill Bland. I'm Managing Partner with Southwest Michigan First, and we want to support City staff's recommendation to move forward with a public hearing on October 12th to consider a 12-year 50% tax abatement for Zoetis at their manufacturing facility on Kilgo Road. This $90+ million investment will add good jobs to the community over the next couple of years. Again, this investment could have gone to other Zoetis facilities, but they chose to locate their investment in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and we are very appreciative. We look forward to the public hearing on October 12th and hopefully have your support. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Amber Adams Fall, and I'm a former resident of Kalamazoo and current resident of Parchment. Both my husband and I continue to work in the city of Kalamazoo. This will be the fourth time I have called in for public comment regarding the same issue from your August 17th meeting, during which Commissioner Aaron Knott made several false and unsubstantiated claims about Reverend Nathan Dannison. I will reiterate that her claim that Mr. Dannison called armed PDL protesters to attend his peaceful prayer vigil in Arcadia Creek Park was not truthful, and though it may have been an accident at the time, months have now passed, and both she and the commission and mayor have failed to either provide proof of her statements or to correct the record, which was clearly inaccurate. Her statement that Mr. Dannison is a race baiter and her blame of him for the events that transpired that weekend are further slander and defamation of his character, and have resulted in severe damage to his reputation, his career, and the safety of himself and his family. In addition to my phone calls, I have also been sending emails, to which the last response I received was almost a month ago from Mayor Anderson. Mayor, you offered to speak with me despite your busy schedule, provided that I could do so with, in your words, humility and grace. I am still calmly and politely asking for that conversation. To quote Desmond Tutu, If you remain neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. The comments made on August 17th were not acceptable from an elected official. I'm truly ashamed of the city that you have allowed for this situation to continue for this length of time. I will politely and calmly continue to reach out until the record has been corrected and an apology has been made. I look forward to hearing from you as soon as possible. Thank you again for your time.
Yeah, this is Stephen Tabaris, and I live in the Vine neighborhood, resident of Kalamazoo, going on almost 13 years. And I'm calling in particular to talk about my dismay and concern that a citizen of the community of Kalamazoo was dismissed or asked not to reapply or would not be reseated on a subcommittee in the city of Kalamazoo. Nathan Dennison has been an outspoken critic because he doesn't suit the purposes of a tyrant city manager. I do not think is the reason that someone should be dismissed. So, if I don't believe that there is no racism and no type of dual ways in which justice is served and this community is policed, then I wouldn't be a good fit for a committee either. So I have to believe what the city manager believes to be seated on committees. I find that absurd and insulting to the community and a very, very ugly injustice. You know, he made some disparaging comments passively or also by just the nature of what he says in his statement, and I won't read it all at all. It's in public. But to say that someone is going to be biased because of what they believe or don't believe about racism and about the policies in which the community polices based on racism. In June, when the National Guard was here, I had to go to the Central Business District. I was stopped by the National Guard and asked to show ID as two white males, similar in stature and age and the way we were dressed, got to walk through. Were they stopped? No. You guys are missing the point here. I had to show my debit card because I was going to chemical. It's TCF now. And my ID, and had to answer questions of why I was entering that area. And it wasn't 5 p.m. yet. And then a couple hours later, people were gassed on the other side of Bronson Park there on Park Street. You guys are missing the point. And I find it atrocious that you're allowing this city manager to impose his will, imposing his own political beliefs on what people are supposed to believe in when they serve on the committees. I think a full review needs to take place. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that was the last comment.
There we go. All right. Thank you so much, DCM Chamberlain. I appreciate that very much. Thanks everyone who called in this evening, took the effort to do that and left a voicemail. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda. City Manager Ritzma.
We have 4 items this evening. First is the approval of a 1-year contract for analytical services from Trace Analytical Laboratories, Incorporated, for a total amount not to exceed $168,117.73. Next is the approval of the purchase of emergency equipment to be installed in 10 public safety fleet vehicles by Canfield Equipment Service, Incorporated, through cooperative pricing with the City of Dearborn in the amount of $156,225.79. Next is the approval of a professional service agreement with Jones and Henry Engineers for the design and creation of permit, building, and construction documents for the Kalamazoo Water Reclamation Plant Interceptor Biofiltration, Odor Control, and Mitigation Project in the amount of $215,000. And finally, approval and acceptance of an easement amendment with American Village Development LLC for water main that was installed as part of the American Village Development Walden Woods Phases 4 and 5 construction projects.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Commissioners, the requested action is to approve items 1 through 4 and authorize the city manager to sign all documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Hess, supported by
Cunningham.
Commissioner Cunningham. Appreciate it. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Knott,
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel,
Yes.
Commissioner Urban,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The items on the consent agenda are approved. Next is the regular agenda. Oh, now we have 3 items on our regular agenda tonight. First one, City Manager Ritzma.
Adoption of a resolution setting a public hearing on October 19, 2020 to consider a request from Zoetis LLC for a PA 198 industrial facilities tax exemption certificate for 12 years for real property valued at $47,859,166.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Is there a report on this item?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to turn it over to Antonio Mitchell, our Community Investment Manager, and he's got a presentation for you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mitchell.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see everyone again. I'd like to thank the Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioner, and City Manager for having us here today. There's just going to be 2 people giving the presentation, myself and representative from Zoetis, who has supportive staff that will assist him with the presentation. First of all, though, similar to before, I want to go through some background information for the Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Commission and the public so they know what this process is. Tonight, the City Commission is voting to adopt a resolution to set a public hearing for October 19th, when you as a City Commission will vote to approve the tax abatement that is coming forth after the public hearing is presented on October 19th. Like I stated, it's 2 presenters, myself, to just give more background on this tax abatement and information and to answer questions from the Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Commission as needed. And our guest speaker from Zoetis is Mark Calhoun, Director, Team Leader of Engineering and EHS of Zoetis. And he has a team with him of 4 other individuals, which he'll introduce as needed to assist with the presentation. We would like to, if possible, answer questions at the end. So we are going to try to stay within 10 minutes. Hopefully my time will be shorter than that. And we'll let Zoetis talk about pretty much why they chose to expand here in Kalamazoo with their tax abatement and growth and develop here. They have 2 locations specifically, one downtown, a couple of blocks from City Hall, and then the one out by our airport here in Kalamazoo by I-94. And that is where the tax abatement growth and expansion is being implemented here in Kalamazoo. So, I stated before a couple weeks ago when we were going through graphic packaging, in this case, Zoetis is also putting an application request for a 12-year PA 198 state tax abatement, which we recommend with a an additional 6 structure for a total of 12 years total for their tax abatement as staff. This is a state PA1 tax abatement for 50% of the tax break on real property. What does this mean? As we talked about before, is that they will be receiving their tax abatement on real property for the time period. 6-year review will be required set by the City Commission and Mayor in the agreement. This industrial district was created, required as always before you can get tax abatement. In the case of Zoetis, the commission in the past set this district up. It was district number 39. It was established December 1980. So Zoetis has been pretty much expanding and growing in the city of Kalamazoo for many decades here in our downtown and other aspects of the city area. City Commission is voting to approve the number of years as stated before. You're not approving the tax abatement, you're approving the number of years that tax abatement will be established here in the city of Kalamazoo. The state of Michigan will approve the official tax abatement once it is approved here at the city level. It goes to the state for official approval. What are your options? As stated before, you have the option to approve with recommendations, or decline. We are recommending approval for the 12 years with 6+6 combination. In conclusion, the city of Kalamazoo will gain continued growth by Zoetis in the Kalamazoo and South Michigan, and enhance the ability of the city to keep inspiring growth in the pharmacia area of our region, and establish more of hopefully a relationship with our company of Zoetis in our downtown area, hopefully them there more, and also growing in the airport regional area that they're in currently. I'm going to now turn over to Mark Calhoun so he can give more details of this expansion and more information on Zoetis. So Mark, are you there?
I'm here. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, thanks, Antonio. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for taking the time to discuss our application, and I'd like to give you just a brief update on our project. So Zoetis continues to invest here in Kalamazoo very heavily. This project, what we call our oral solid dose manufacturing, it's being built here at the 2605 Kilgore Road, just north of the airport. This is our second phase of the OSD project, which we call it. It brings a nearly $95 million total project cost, and like Antonio said, a $47.9 million real property value. This brings us, Zoetis has invested over the last 5 years here in Kalamazoo, nearly $180 million through plant expansions, equipment improvements, infrastructure upgrades, to really put Zoetis Kalamazoo in a very good position to take on more products. So plant construction is currently underway. We're in process of getting the plant ready for a September 2021 plant readiness to develop and produce commercial product out of this facility. With this project, in addition to the spend, we're adding 50 new jobs with this phase, everything from managerial levels to operators within the plant. So it's a very good high technology type project with different technologies of oral solid dose processing, which is basically tablet processing, is what we're looking at in this facility. With those 50 new jobs being added, that would bring the global manufacturing supply, which is here at Kilgore Road facility, to 341 employees. And for total Kalamazoo County employees, including our downtown facility and the one in Richland at the farms, almost a little over 1,000, about 1,100 jobs within Kalamazoo County. So you can see Zoetis continues to heavily invest in the Kalamazoo region. A little bit of detail about the project itself. This is a 41,000 square foot addition to our current facility. It provides the capability for us to produce 3 new products for Zoetis, all based on the solid oral dose platform. So either a ingestible or a chewable tablet will come out of here. With building this project, it takes many, many contractors to get this done. So we currently have around 130 contractors on site at any given time during the week. 31 companies represent those amount of employees, and I'm happy to say that 21 of those companies are from Kalamazoo. 11 have been outside the Kalamazoo County, but all within the Michigan area. So we're trying to keep all of our contractors and employees within the Kalamazoo area. So that's how I have for the project update. Are there any specific questions I can answer for you?
Any questions for Mr. Callahan? Seeing none, Mr. Mitchell, please continue.
Yes, so I want to make sure that the pretty much mayor, vice mayor, commissioners understand that we want to give this early presentation so you know what this public hearing is for. And the last tax abatement, there was other issues going on at the time that prevented us from speaking. But we want to make sure we give a presentation now. And if the vice mayor, mayor, commissioner, city manager would like us to come back on October 19th to get another presentation to answer questions, we're willing to do that as well.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions for Mr. Mitchell at this point? Yeah, Commissioner Urban.
Yes, I'd like to ask Antonio if there is any provision in the agreement to allow for auditing the reports that the manufacturer is to supply annually to us. If we don't have such a provision in the agreement, I think it might be prudent to allow for it to happen if needed. I don't think we want to put everybody through an audit just for the sake of doing that, but it does give us a little bit more protection to be sure that we can satisfy the public that, for example, the indicated number of increase in jobs actually did occur with actual new employees and not with people that we were just traded around. Just for example, the kind of thing that I tend to be a little skeptical about. And I don't want to press it further, but it does seem prudent that we should have some kind of agreement up front that we can audit their report if we choose to.
Thank you, Commissioner Urban. Yes, Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, I'll let Clyde confirm if there's an audit. I think there's a reporting requirement in the agreement of providing documentation reporting that they're adhering to what they have agreed to, but not a specific audit. See, Attorney, can you assist with, is there a audit requirement or just reporting requirement?
I knew about the reporting requirement. That's good. That's the first step. That's got to be there. What I'm inquiring about is the wisdom or the prudence of having built into the agreement a provision that will allow us to more or less double check on the validity of the reporting. It's so easy, for example, to make the jobs look like they're there when they really aren't. You can kind of play a shell game with that. And I worked at a company where that went on. So that's why my skepticism is there. And I just want a good answer from the city on that. That's all. And you don't have to give it to me right now, but okay. It's something that I hope that you will address in 2 weeks.
Okay, I'll follow up with Attorney Robinson on that
thanks.
item.
Thank you, Commissioner Urban. Any other questions or comments? So we don't have to take an action on this, but just want to verify with this commission. Mr. Mitchell had offered for this a presentation. Tonight we're just going to be voting to set that hearing date, which is our next meeting, October 19th. Is there a desire generally to have a similar report on the 19th when we vote on this? Any sense of how folks are feeling about that? Vice Mayor Griffin?
Yes, for me, it would be helpful to have, and not just for this particular organization, but any sort of tax abatement issue or that's brought in front of us for any organization. What are the environmental or what are the impacts to the community on various planes, and how that impacts, how this expansion could potentially impact the community. If we know more of that up front, then potentially, that's not to say that the community might not need to hear that again at a presentation, but I know for me, that would be helpful to get that information sooner than later.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Griffin. Anyone else thinking about that? So I'm just going to say here, Mr. Mitchell, just for feedback for you, looks like there's a couple issues that have been raised that would be, good to provide some information on, perhaps in our agenda packet for our next meeting, but when we set our hearing date, presumably we will do that. I think it's the case, people can't watch every single meeting. It'd probably be a good idea to have some version of a report available on the 19th as well.
Okay.
Including those particular issues that were raised. All right, thank you. Any more questions at this time for staff? Well, seeing none, let me see here. The recommended action then is a motion to adopt the resolution. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Urban. Support by Commissioner Knott. Any more discussion? All right, see none. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Mayor,
Commissioner Hess.
on the resolution, 3B says that City Commission shall meet in City Hall for the hearing on the 19th. I wonder if we could change that wording, or if it's been changed. Has it been changed?
Good question, Commissioner Hess. Attorney Robinson?
No, it's not been changed. Obviously, the decision by the Michigan Supreme Court on Friday has thrown the whole issue of virtual meetings into a bit of a gray area. So the question becomes, can we continue to meet virtually, or can we do some type of hybrid approach? Or are we going to return to normal face-to-face meetings? And that is a question that's up in the air. Now, I would point out that although both at the last meeting and there's been some discussion at this meeting, these hearings are not, on these tax certificate questions, are not really public hearings. If you look at the text of the resolution, it is limited to permitting the comments of the assessor and other taxing units to comment on the exemption certificate. And so the issue becomes, and this is the way that the statute's supposed to work, is once a exemption district is, a facilities exemption development district is created, businesses who otherwise qualify under the statute for an exemption can make the application. Then you have a hearing to provide the opportunity for the city assessor and representatives of the other taxing units to be heard on the question of the application. And then, as Mr. Mitchell indicated, the question becomes for this body, not whether or not to grant the exemption, but how long should it be granted for? So the discussion with graphic packaging 2 weeks ago and now again tonight, the issues are starting to get a little more fuzzy in terms of exactly what this hearing that you're going to be setting is supposed to be aimed to do. That said, there is nothing, as I was researching this in the earlier part of the meeting during the FFE presentation, there's nothing that would preclude you from kind of holding off on how you wish to meet. I think that within the next week, certainly within the next 2 weeks, I hope to see some clarification from the state of Michigan, particularly out of the governor's office, or more specifically out of the Department of Health and Human Services, as to what restrictions will be in place for any type of public gathering. At this point, we're kind of still working on the groups of under the most recent executive order issued by the governor, because the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, acting pursuant to a statute that was adopted from the 1919 pandemic, has a great deal of ability to protect the public health by indicating what you can and can't do. I have been in email conversations with other municipal attorneys throughout the day and how they are grappling with this issue. And everybody's kind of holding their breath and waiting to see what is going to come out of either this Michigan Department of Health and Human Services or county health departments in terms of masks, in terms of separation, in terms of what is going to be required on both public sector in terms of meetings and gatherings, and in what's going to be taking place in the private sector in terms of people going to businesses to engage in trade or dining or whatever it happens to be. So the best I can tell you is that one of the things you might want to consider is that the city shall meet in a, I guess you could say, in a format to be determined by a particular date. You could say a week from now, and that you will give notice to the city assessor and the representatives of each of the taxing units then how you're going to be handling that hearing. That's probably the best you can do in terms of attempting to be somewhat flexible. The other approach, of course, is to say you're going to meet at City Hall and we see what we can do to accommodate with whatever rules may be issued between now and October 19th to comply with those rules to permit a meeting at City Hall. It very well may be that City Hall may be a little cramped. I know that tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, city staff is going to be meeting to see what venues and options are available. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but it's not an easy question to answer with a yes or no approach. So at the end of my remarks, I guess my suggestion would be that you could amend this to the city commission shall meet in a format and place to be determined by, I would say a week from today, by October 12th. And that is what you could maybe amend the resolution to do. I think we can do that because, again, the only people who are really entitled to notice are the city assessors, the city assessor and the representatives of the taxing units, which is the county, community college, a school, and the like, who have, if you will, the opportunity to be heard on this matter.
So thank you, Attorney Robinson, for once again for a very detailed response and clarification. So I appreciate that. I don't want to bury the lead, so to speak, right now. Just tying back specifically to Commissioner Hess then. Out of that, there was a recommendation made for an amendment to our motion. Is everybody comfortable with the language in the recommendation that was suggested by Attorney Robinson? And if so, could we have a motion to that effect? I don't think, Clerk Borland, we need to repeat it unless you are prepared to or feel like we need to. Are you clear about the language of that, Clerk Borland?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect from Commissioner? Made by Commissioner Hess. Is there support for that motion? Commissioner Knott. Thank you so much. Any discussion on that motion, which is amending our motion to set the hearing?
No, Attorney Robinson, I want to thank you for your answer. And I was just wondering if we passed the resolution as it was, if we were then bound to meet at City Hall as it was stated in the resolution.
Right. It would have been a little hard to undo that after you adjourned this meeting this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Hess. Secretary Robinson, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Pradle,
Yes.
Commissioner Urban,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Knott.
Yes.
All right. If I remember correctly, we had made the motion to set the hearing date. That had been made and supported. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Knott,
Yes.
Commissioner Pradle,
Yes.
Commissioner Urban,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next item is H2. Manager Ritzma.
Approval of a memorandum of understanding with the United Way of Greater Kalamazoo and Battle Creek region to support continuum of care operations and related programs in the amount of $450,000.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Is there a report on this?
Yes, I'm going to turn it over to Deputy City Manager Lamb, who's going to introduce our guest speakers this evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. I'm pleased tonight to be able to introduce Alyssa Stewart, Vice President of Impact Investing, and Sarah Jacobs, Continuum of Care Director with United Way of Battle Creek and Kalamazoo region. Alyssa and Sarah are going to provide you a little bit of an overview of the Continuum of Care. The Continuum of Care Memorandum of Understanding before you for consideration includes $450,000 to support the Continuum of Care operations and 2 exciting pilots. These funds were included in the 2020 FFE affordable housing budget that you previously approved. The Continuum of Care's vision to help Kalamazoo residents live in safe and healthy, affordable homes in a thriving community aligns well with many of our goals that are found in our strategic vision, in our master plan, in our shared prosperity plan, in our neighborhood plans. As you'll see as I talk about it, there's a lot of alignment here, and I really want to thank Chris Sargent, Alyssa, Sarah for their vision, their leadership, and their unwavering partnership. And now I'd like to turn it over to Alyssa and Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you, DCM Land. Ms. Stewart.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, good evening. Thank you all so much for having us tonight. We're happy to be here to talk about this memorandum of understanding. So Laura teed it up beautifully. Our community's continuum of care is really our local planning body that is tasked with addressing homelessness and really reducing it in our community. For decades, LISC, the Local Initiative Support Corporation, has led this work. Just recently this year, the body of work transitioned to the United Way. And so we are honored to carry on this work and to really grow and expand it. I will really just focus us on the MOU and provide a high-level overview, and then we'll open up for any questions that you all may have. So as laid out in the Memorandum of Understanding, there are 3 main activities that this memorandum will cover. The first is support for the Continuum of Care backbone team. That is Sarah, our director, and then 2 additional staff, an HMIS system admin, her name is Carrie Bosch, and Continuum of Care associate named Tiana Williams. We now have 3 FTE staff that are dedicated at United Way to this body of work. This is a really exciting growth in staff capacity that was very critical to our community's response during COVID-19. We feel fortunate that we had this all in process before the height of the pandemic because their capacity was critical and will continue to be critical as our community addresses this, but also manages an influx of federal and state funding related to housing. It's because that is another key role that the continuum of care staff plays, is managing HUD and MSHDA resources. Part of those programs, they mandate that continuum of cares convene groups and have a board, and that board, those boarding committees really weigh in and drive the community plan and response and how those funds are allocated. And so the MOU covers $100,000 across the 3-year period of the MOU to support those staff. We're excited to say that we were also able to leverage private funding. We are committing a small amount, which you'll see reflected in the MOU, but we've also been able to garner support from several other private funders. So the city will be joining several other funders, as well as HUD funding that will be used to support these staff roles. And then really, in addition to that backbone piece, is 2 pilots that we're really excited to talk about tonight. They are still being finalized, which is part of what we'll talk about. But these resources that you all are being asked to allocate will be a key part in allowing us to move these pilots forward. I'll start with the landlord and tenant partnership pilot. This actually does come out of some efforts. I want to give a shout out to Vice Mayor Patrice Griffin. I remember having conversations with her and many others long ago about some ideas and best practices she had seen in other communities, and really wanted to set the stage, I think, for the housing ordinance and other work that was happening and figuring out how to do that in a really robust and responsible way. This pilot program will really be focused on covering security deposits. We're hoping to serve upwards of 300 individuals with barriers to accessing housing. This program will really be focused on individuals who can afford housing. So right now we're discussing the 80 to 100% area median income range. This starts to touch what we call that ALIS population. So individuals who have income of some kind, but may have other barriers to housing, like poor credit history, criminal records, prior evictions, or potentially sporadic income. So income, but maybe it's sporadic. So what we'll really do is this pilot will allow us to use a third-party company, which we are working to identify who that company is. But there are many third-party vendors that provide essentially insurance that covers the security deposit, but does it in a way that's advantageous to us in this case as the holder of the contract. We can minimize our risk and investment and kind of use a private insurance product that will help alleviate some of that risk while still meeting the needs, providing direct support to the tenant, and also reducing risk for the landlord. So we really hope that this is a win-win. And we are partnering with the W.E. Upjohn Institute to kind of to study this pilot and to use this pilot to help to provide direct, meaningful assistance to this population who right now doesn't have a lot of options in our community. Most of our programs around housing tend to support households underneath, kind of below that 80% area median income range. So it provides a new solution for people needing assistance in that area. And it also, as I said, it's sort of that win-win. We'll be able to study and understand whether this product, this third-party insurance product, allows landlords to overcome perceptions of risk that they might have of working with these individuals. So we're really excited to, again, provide direct assistance to up to 300 households, but also to study and understand how this supports these families in obtaining the housing that they choose, the housing of their choice, and how that helps them sustain it over a year's time. So the investment towards that piece is $240,000. In partnership with W.E. Upjohn, they've been able to leverage some additional funding, which will allow us to serve residents outside of the city. So we're very excited for that. And we will also seek additional funding. And especially as we see what the pilot outcomes are, we would obviously hope to continue this program and potentially increase it and scale it to a larger size if it is effective. The third piece, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or go into any more detail that you all would like, is the low barrier shelter piece. So it was exciting, actually. I'm glad I was able to catch the whole meeting to hear Steve's presentation for FFE. It's exciting to hear about all these pieces that are being addressed across the spectrum of affordable housing. And we hope that these two pilots kind of hit two additional pieces that are currently not present in our community. This low barrier shelter is really intended to address a few issues. We currently have right now, as you all are very aware, several encampments throughout the city. And we have wonderful street outreach teams right now that are housed at Integrated Services of Kalamazoo, and they are out there interacting with, serving those individuals. And in many cases, they are struggling to place them into more suitable or safe housing situations. In some cases, it's by choice, and in some cases, it's by a lack of places to go that meet those individuals' needs. And so we are really excited to pilot 12 to 14 beds in what we call a low barrier shelter, which means that people can be in active addiction, they can be in active mental health crisis, and they can be placed in a safe shelter situation with social work supports and with all of the great wraparound services that Integrated Services of Kalamazoo can offer as our mental health lead in this community. And so it's really in line with sort of our housing first model, this idea that people need housing first, and then we can wrap around them with supports that will allow them to follow whatever path they desire and with, how they determine success. So very exciting. Again, this is a partnership with Integrated Services of Kalamazoo. An important thing, I guess, procedurally, just to sort of note about this memorandum of understanding is that all of this work will be overseen by our Continuum of Care board. So that is a pretty newly established board that was part of this transition from LISC to United Way. We have a 23-person board. It is a very diverse board, representation from all facets of our social service network, government representation, healthcare, really all of sort of the facets that wrap around housing. And these programs will be overseen by that board. Upon approval from you all, an application process will be opened up. So ISK for the low barrier shelter piece will be invited to complete that application. And for the landlord pilot, the Continuum of Care, because we will be the fiduciary for that piece, will actually complete that application as well to ensure sort of procedural transparency and accountability. Those applications will go to the city per this arrangement for approval, since you are the main funder of these two projects, and then they will go to the COC board for approval. There will be annual reporting for each of these projects. So I did just want to share that to kind of make clear the accountability and oversight that would be taking place across these projects. Any questions I can answer for you all?
Questions, commissioners? All right, that evidently was an extremely good presentation because there are no questions. Thank you, Ms. Stewart. It's very good to see you. Sarah Jacobs. I know someone else, I don't think I missed anybody. So thank you for being here. DCM Lamb, anything else on this?
Nothing further. Also happy to answer any questions that you might have for me.
All right, thank you. Commissioners, other comments or questions? All right, I saw Commissioner Pradel.
Yeah, I just want to thank United Way and Continuum of Care group for all the work that you're doing. I mean, for anybody who questions, the work that their local United Way does for their community, you just have to look back to at the beginning of COVID to see the response and how quickly they mobilized to support our community through both the disaster relief fund, but also through small business support. And I think if that's any indication of the great work that they provide and administer for this community, I think the community can have a lot of faith that they're going to do a great job of executing these three tenets of this proposal. So thank you both for being here late tonight. I know it's a late evening to be on the call and a lot to digest, but thank you for all the work that you're doing in the community.
Thank you, Commissioner Pradel. Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes, I don't have any questions. I just wanted to echo what Commissioner Pareto said, and you, Mayor, as well. Thank you very much for the presentation, and thank you for the work. It's just an example of collaborative work and the outcomes that really can impact the community. And I'm especially excited about the gaps that we're filling. And as Alyssa, you mentioned how all of these different projects are working together to improve outcomes for our community as a whole. So I'm very excited about this work and look forward to the reports and the outcomes.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Anyone else? Seeing no other.
Mayor, sorry, I forgot to give a shout out to DCM Lamb as well. It's just incredible how much you're working on behind the scenes constantly. And so I just wanted to give you a major plug as well, Laura, for all the great work that you're doing on behalf of the community. It seems like you have your hands in just about everything, and it's a lot to juggle right now during such a period that we have so many different issues to tend to. And so I know that you've been involved with almost every one of these tenants, and they've often moved very quickly and expeditiously, and so you've done a great job. So thank you for all the work you're doing on behalf of the community.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Commissioner Pareto. Seeing no one else, Clerk Borling, can you please call the roll?
We need a motion.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Urban.
I move that we adopt this item, which is approval of a memorandum of understanding with the United Way of Greater Kalamazoo and Ballard Creek region to support continuum of care operations and related programs in the amount of $450,000.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioner, and supported by Commissioner Cunningham. Thank you so much. So this is where I need help, folks. You know, everyone just stares at me blankly when it doesn't say, hey, we don't have a motion yet. Keep me on my toes. All right, I'm just going to start this off just before I ask clerk to call a roll, because I'm going to say a little bit, is that I will be abstaining on this vote on this motion. And the reason is that it will be in the department where I work at Integrated Services of Kalamazoo, which is manifesting this low barrier shelter work. There's no benefit out of this that accrues to me, other than it supports my desire to serve people who are without housing, which is work I've been involved in here for a couple decades. So that means a lot to me. One way or another, you know, it doesn't affect my my employment here at Integrated Services, but because of that, I will be abstaining on this vote. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Urban.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Abstention.
Commissioner Cunningham.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Knott.
Yes.
Commissioner Praedel.
Yes.
Thank you, commissioners. The motion passes. Next, I guess I can do this even if I can't vote. Next on our agenda is item H3, Manager Ritzma.
Adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 10 of Employee Retirement System, Section 2-243 and Section 2-245.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Is there a report on this item?
No, there isn't, Your Honor.
All right. Are there any questions for staff on this motion at all this time? All right. Seeing none, the recommended action is a motion to adopt the ordinance. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Knott.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Cunningham. Any discussion? See no discussion. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Knott.
Yes.
Commissioner Praedel.
Yes.
Commissioner Urban.
Yes.
Thank you, commissioners. The motion passes. Next is reports and legislation. City Manager Ritzma, do you have a report?
Not this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Manager Ritzma. Attorney Robinson, in a way, you gave a long report. You veered off into some conversation about the recent Supreme Court action and how that could affect things. Anything in particular you want to add to that as far as your report this evening?
No, not really. It's just stay tuned for further developments.
Thank you, Attorney Robinson. And Clerk Borley, do you have a report?
Yes, I do have a few updates to give the commission and the community as it pertains to the November election. 2 weeks ago, the City Commission adopted a resolution supporting some expanded voter services, and I am pleased to report that today our satellite location opened at Western Michigan University at the Bernhard Center. And so that's an exciting thing to see. And also last week, we had 4 additional ballot drop boxes installed, one in front of the Douglas Community Association, one near the Eastside Community Association, the third one near the city's Stockbridge facility, and the fourth one at Public Safety Station 7, which is there on Parkview Avenue, near kind of in between the Oakwood and Oakland Winchell neighborhoods. So those ballot drop boxes are operational. They are being checked once a day at this point. We'll increase that collection as we move closer to the election. And so there are a lot of people to thank for that. My deputy clerk, Shelby Moss, did a lot of work on both those projects. Public Services, they did a great job installing those drop boxes on short notice. And the staff at Western Michigan University at the Bernhard Center, they've been very, very helpful in helping us stand up that satellite location. In terms of absentee balloting, something that I wanted to report is we actually have issued over 17,500 absentee ballots at this point. And we have received back already over 5,200. We're approaching about a 30% return rate at this point, which is very good considering that ballots were 2 weeks ago today is when ballots were started to be mailed out, and that mailing, our initial mailing, concluded about 10 days ago. And so to already have 30% back is pretty good from our perspective. I just wanted to highlight that to maybe allay some of the concerns about mail delivery. The mail's getting delivered. So wanted to report that. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Clerk Borland. Yes, Commissioner Pradel.
Yeah, hey, Clerk. Just a couple questions for you. I had somebody ask a question recently about parking accessibility at Western if they wish to go to the Bernhard Center to access those or access the special satellite location. Do you have any information on parking, and do people just need to pay at the meters like most people, or is there any free parking available on site for people?
At this point, I mean, we're continuing to see what accessibility issues we have there, and improving signage and getting feedback from people on different issues. There might be parking is something that this just came up today. Someone asking about that. I mean, at this moment, you'd have to pay for the metered parking there. I know that there's a question there that we've put to the management at the Bernhard Center. So I'll keep you updated on what happens with that.
Yeah, I know that they're right along, there's parallel parking right in front of the Bernhard Center.
Right.
It's usually pretty accessible, and there's a small parking lot that's right between the Bernhard Center and Sangren. So, I can imagine it would take individuals, if they were to go, at this point in October, would take too long just to pop a couple quarters in and run it, and if they're able.
Right.
But thanks for letting us know about that.
Okay.
Thanks, Commissioner Pradel. Any other questions for Clerk Borling? Don't see any other questions. Thank you, Clerk Borling. I just wanted to say that I would match your efforts and your office against anyone in Kalamazoo. Thank you, Commissioner Pradel, for being a big support for that. But I think the work that you're doing is exemplary, and support you just 100% on that work. So thank you for keeping us updated. Thanks for your good work every single day.
You're welcome.
That said, now we have something which I can't remember whether we've done in one of our Zoom meetings before, and that is that we, from time to time, as a commission, go into closed session. There are very specific criteria for going into a closed session, and one of those is for a labor negotiation update. So we have a closed session for that tonight. We will be coming back out of our closed session, correct, Attorney Robinson, and then we will be taking action in our public meeting before that occurs. So here's something I actually just missed here. I guess we have it set up where we can do commissioner comments before we go into closed session. Is that's the way that we're set up on our agenda tonight to do that? Is that correct? So I guess that said, closed session is coming yet. Now is the time for commissioner comments. So we'll get into that. Commissioner Urban. Still muted, Commissioner Urban.
I have nothing.
Thank you, Commissioner Urban. Commissioner Cunningham.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to start off by saying congratulations to Chief Coakley. He is our new KDPS police chief. He started on the 1st of this month. I look forward to the journey. Also, you know, have some huge expectations. So I think it'll be interesting. We still have a lot of things we have to work through as a community, a lot of things that we have to work through as an administration. So I'm excited about it. The other piece I just wanted to touch on, there was a caller earlier that claimed that our mayor and city manager was a white supremacist. I just want to debunk that. That is not true. I understand, you know, sometimes individuals' decisions may come off as malicious, but one thing I can say is not true wholeheartedly. As I've experienced over the last years, the 5 or 6 years I've known each individual, neither of them have that type of heart or malicious intent.
Thank you, Commissioner Cunningham. Commissioner Knott.
Sure, just quickly would like to give a shout out of thanks and appreciation to our local businesses and employers that you know, on Saturday morning and over the remainder of the weekend issued statements as it related to masking up and maintaining you know, social distancing and occupancy requirements despite the harmful action that the state Supreme Court took on Friday. So again, thank you. Several businesses took it to Facebook and talked to their customers about, regardless of what the court did, they're going to continue to maintain policies that protect our community. So that's all for tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Knott. Commissioner Pradel.
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to echo Commissioner Cunningham's comments to congratulate Chief Coakley. He was just had his swearing in last week, and I look forward to the opportunity to work with the commission and with the chief on a lot ahead of us, including work with our subcommittee that still continues. Just wanted to reiterate just the amazing work that the clerk's office is doing. Clerk Borling, Deputy Moss, Lisa from the clerk's office. You know, even not accomplishing the things that you accomplished through the resolution list meeting, I think most people would consider the work that you do quite remarkable under the circumstances of 2020. And so I'm so incredibly proud of the work that you guys have done under such excruciating pressure and short deadlines and just an unprecedented year. So can't echo that enough. It's been cool to drive around and see those boxes around. It's neat to see that the Bernhardt Center is up and running and the opportunities that will afford students at Western. I know I saw a post today that We Vote had stickers on all the carryout containers for the cafeterias, telling students at Western about the new ways that they can access voting on campus and whatnot. So I know word is getting out there, and they're working diligently to get out the word to students. So thank you. We in our reporting here that we get on a weekly update, there was updates on gun violence and intervention strategies that we've used as a city. And I know, we have a long ways to go. This has been a very violent year, both here in the city of Kalamazoo, but also around the country, especially during COVID. But, I'm grateful for the update that in some ways, some of the initiatives and gun violence intervention and approaches that the city is using are starting to show some results here in the last month. And so thank you to those who are working diligently, including Urban Alliance and those working with our gun violence interventions in the community. So please keep up that great work. Just going off of what Steve Brown was sharing tonight, I had a chance to talk to a resident from Oakwood who reached out and was just in disbelief that they had saved money on their property taxes since FFE has been instituted. Encourage the person to pull up kalamazoocity.org/FFE. If you go to that link and you click on explore how FFE is investing in our community, it provides a data analytics dashboard. So you can drill down to your exact neighborhood and find out exactly how much has been spent in each area that's been funded by FFE, including how much your neighborhood has saved in those 3 to 4 years, which we learned by pulling that up while we were on the phone, that the Oakwood neighborhood alone has saved, the residents in that small neighborhood have saved $634,000 in those 3 to 4 years in property taxes. So, I encourage people to explore that tool. It's a really cool analytics tool to see how your specific neighborhood, the entire city is benefiting from the FFE. And then lastly, just really quick, I know it's getting late, but I just wanted to continue to reiterate and just encourage everybody to show grace with each other during this time. Just let everybody know that, I continue to think about people who are struggling during this time, whether it be from, mental illness or mental struggles, juggling jobs and kids, and those are experiencing death and new children. These are really difficult times, and just know you're not alone, and, we'll get through this one way or the other. The community is behind you. So hang in there, everybody. We'll get through this.
Thank you, Commissioner Prado. I appreciate that. Commissioner Hess.
A few things. I'd like to echo what Commissioner Cunningham said in support of our city staff, and all the gratitude of everything that's happened tonight, from the Foundation for Excellence and what they do on behalf of the citizens of this community. And also a big welcome to Chief Vernon Copley, who I know is a man of great faith and a man of great commitment to this community. I was unable to be there, but I did watch you online, and yes, I'm ready to work with you and to work with KDPS in making this the best Department of Public Safety in the country. People have been reaching out to you and just wondering about trick or treat. Just going to say a few things. It is not, I don't believe it's a municipal decision, but all I'll ask is that we follow the CDC guidelines and stay safe. And throughout this season, this October of being together and wanting to be together and celebrate October and fall things, is that we remain safe and we keep each other safe, and that we wear our masks and we continue to social distance. And then lastly, in October is, I believe, Suicide Awareness Month, as well as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. My thoughts, my sympathies go out to anyone who's been affected and lost loved ones due to either of those causes. This is a great community, and we do take care of one another. So let's keep doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hess. Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yes, briefly, just want to thank the clerk's office and all of your staff for all of the work that you're doing. Remind everyone to please vote. Please become aware if you're not already. There are there's a lot on the ballot. I'll just say that. So please become informed, whether that be library, whether that be judges, whether that be at a state level. Locally, it all matters, every last bit of it. Please become informed. There have been many forums. It's all digital, where if you couldn't get to something previously, now a lot of times things are online and they're recorded. Do your best effort to become informed and aware of who's best going to serve you, who's best going to serve your community, and then exercise your right to vote. Shout outs to the NAACP and everyone who was participating in that video to remind folks, people who have felonies, that you can vote. Again, please exercise your right to do so. And thankfully, because of Commissioner Prado and the many folks who pushed for that effort, we have expanded voter opportunities. Please pay attention to those. Those are listed on the website. They're listed on many of our social medias. So there's really no excuse if you have the ability to and are able to, which are the same things. Please make sure you vote. And then I also want to send a shout out to Director Baker and Deputy Director Teresa Johnson for the work that Public Services is doing. They don't get breaks, haven't gotten breaks, and have been doing a lot of work. And whether that be responding to the community's needs in terms of speed and installing those humps, to bulk trash and picking up some of that slack and coming in and making sure that our community can be served. Just want to send a shout out to those two and the staff. And to everyone else, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Whether or not you've been personally affected, it does affect folks. So wear your masks, follow the guidelines, be graceful, courteous, and take care.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Griffin. Few things to go through here. I won't say we'll be quick because I don't think I'm going to be quick. But one thing I wanted to lead off with is that there is a common theme that we hit over and over again this evening, starting with the presentation from Mr. Brown on FFE, continuing on through our memorandum of understanding with the continuum of care. And that theme is, one, wanting to do good work here in the city of Kalamazoo, but two, and I would suggest even more importantly, doing it in partnership. City of Kalamazoo does not do this work alone. As a matter of fact, we will not be successful attempting to do this work alone. So if you look back through all the projects and initiatives that we've talked about this evening, that is being done in partnership with good, strong partners in the city of Kalamazoo. So I appreciate that. And I believe that is how we're going to continue to be successful, is if we work together on these initiatives. I was honored and humbled to be able to say a few words at the swearing in. I would say historic swearing in of our Chief Vernon Coakley. Very nice event over at Mount Zion. Several commissioners were there. As a matter of fact, new chief called up Commissioner Cunningham by name during his presentation, and all the commissioners, but suggested that he was interested in working with the commission and community members, folks who might bring a different thinking than than the chief might have right out of the box, and was encouraging that. So I'm suggesting to this city commission that this is our opportunity, and I don't know whether we're going to start, with our subcommittee that was already been doing some work here. This is our opportunity to work like we've never had an opportunity before, with a chief who's asked for that collaboration and input to help make this be a successful transition to our new chief here, and to take advantage of this opportunity to have, I would say, an unprecedented amount of input and thinking into how we want a policing to look here in the city of Kalamazoo. This is the time for it, obviously, and I would say let's start right off the bat, and let's do that work together and help our new chief be successful. Very, very important. A couple other things that have come up. I know that all of us on the commission have got concerns expressed to us since the Supreme Court made its ruling related to the executive orders of our governor and what that would mean in Kalamazoo, whether you're talking about trick-or-treating, Commissioner Hess, whether you're talking about wearing masks, all those sorts of things. And it seems clear to me that from our perspective, at the commission level, there are certain things that we cannot, we cannot put into place for some commission executive order. But it is the case that we do have a county health department, and our county health officer, Jim Rutherford, here issued a statement today, and that was related to confusion about what this means and what's going to happen in Kalamazoo County. So I would suggest that we be supportive of our county elected officials, to support our county health officer, to continue to promote the important things that we've been continuing to do here in the county related to mask wearing, social distancing, so on and so forth. It does seem from his statement that under the public health code, this statement is on the county website, but it's Public Act 368 of 1978. Health officers have the authority to issue emergency orders as necessary, and that he is prepared to issue such orders. So let's be supportive of that. That is a place where that authority lies. In addition, I continue to hear concerns, general concerns about voting. Will our ballots be counted? Maybe it's important for me to hold off and vote on the day of voting, go and vote in person. Otherwise, I cannot be certain that my vote is going to be included and counted. I understand those concerns. I understand that people are also concerned that maybe on voting day or maybe before, there will be some efforts made to make sure that people cannot vote and their votes aren't counted, and some sort of disruption or maybe even fear tactics deployed. So I want to say that every single person on this commission is 100% supportive of the idea that everyone in the city of Kalamazoo can safely vote. And I would go on to say that with the assistance of commission members and our good work of our clerk Borling here, I do not believe that in order to feel comfortable that your vote will be counted, although you may desire to do this, you don't have to wait till election day to do that. We now have drop boxes available that will be checked every single day for ballots that do not have to go to the post office, that will go directly to the clerk's office. We have extended hours for you to come in and make sure you can drop off your ballot in advance. So whether you want to wait to election day, that is your choice. But I would suggest that taking advantage of these hours, which are posted on our city website, taking advantage of these drop boxes is a way that you can be 100% confident that your votes are going to be safely collected and counted. We are committed to that. Our clerk Borling is committed to that. I would hope that that will relieve some concerns, and we now have some time for you to take advantage of those additional opportunities to make sure you can do that. Obviously, as Clerk Borling stated tonight, almost a third of the ballots that were sent out have already been safely returned to the clerk. That's the mail. Now you have drop boxes that are available as well. So I very much appreciate the work of every single person on this commission and our staff to do this. I also want to say that I have worked with our manager, Ritzma, Manager Ritzma, does have a unique situation with the board, which is unique from all our other boards as it relates to a C-SCRAB, where that is a board where he gets to appoint members and, has based that on some information that he provided. But I believe that Manager Ritzma is dedicated to the city of Kalamazoo being a place of inclusion and equity and good governance and making sure that happens. Thank you, Manager Ritzma, for that work. Now, we have a closed session and we will be going into that closed session. There's a few steps we have to take here. I believe that our screens will go dark for a moment. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Deputy City Manager Chamberlain. And we have another way that we're going to connect. We've got some instructions for how to do that. Commissioners, do you all have that information in front of you? Making
Yes,
sure.
Mr. Mayor, we're going to have the city commissioners mute their microphones and their video, and then the commission and staff will join a separate closed meeting. And at the conclusion of that meeting, we will be coming back to this meeting. And I believe there is a brief motion for you to vote on, and we will be doing that in the public session. So if the commissioners could go ahead, I believe you need a motion though to go into closed session, if I'm correct. I'm seeing
Correct.
nods from the attorney and the clerk.
Okay, is there a motion to go in closed session? Made by
No.
Commissioner Hess. Supported by
Support.
Commissioner Cunningham. All right, thank you so much. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Knott,
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel,
Yes.
Commissioner Urban,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin.
Yeah.
Thank you, commissioners. The motion passes. So at this point, as Deputy City Manager Chamberlain said, we are to mute our mic and turn off our video, or staff, you can do that for us. I believe that's happening. And then we will be connecting. Thank you so much. So I'm here in name only, but says I cannot start my video because the host has stopped it. Host?
Okay.
There we go. I'm back. All right. Commissioners, I'm now calling the open session back to order. So there is a recommended action, and I am going to ask Attorney Robinson to please read that motion.
Mr. Mayor, you'd be requesting a motion from the commission to authorize the Human Relations Director to enter into negotiations with the KMEA to extend the present collective bargaining agreement for 2 additional years.
Thank you, Attorney Robinson. Is there support for that motion? I'm sorry, making the motion. Made by Commissioner Pradel, supported by Commissioner Urban. Any discussion? Thank you. Commissioners, Scott Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hess,
Yes.
Commissioner Knott,
I don't see Commissioner Knott.
Commissioner Knott,
It appears she may be frozen.
okay. Okay, I heard that. Commissioner Pradel?
Yes.
Commissioner Urban?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. The motion passes. I appreciate meeting with everybody tonight. It's always a pleasure. It means a great deal to me. So thanks for everybody's hard work. I just want to remind all of us in Kalamazoo to keep our hearts open. And I love you, Kalamazoo. We are adjourned.